Hello and welcome back, everybody, as we're preparing for Game 3, and DSG looking to make it a quick series, 2-0 on the scoreboard as they continue their redemption arc in Spring Split. So I gotta ask Josh, can they do it? Can they make the 3-0 happen, or do Maryville have enough in the tank in a best-of-5 Fearless Draft, as we had talked about at the beginning of the day, to halt the brakes and stop the momentum?
It's looking harder and harder, right? Because everything that Maryville would have used to go up and find all these wins has been banned out, and all the champions they picked are still champions that we know they have had success on in the past. But that's why we gotta start talking about our best-of-5 kick, the best-of-way Subway sidekick coming through. And I know you had one. It sounded like you had already claimed the pretzel.
Oh, I've already claimed it. I think he was Pretzel last time around after Game 1. I'm going to bring him back for Game 2. Niles is known for Pantheon. I want to see some Pantheon gameplay. Might be a little selfish on my end, as he is one of my most played champions, but I feel like it just fits MU's style. I don't know if Tenacity's champ pool will allow that necessarily. It's not really something you can blind pick. It kind of has to be a counter pick. But I feel like MU needs something. They're not winning on the traditional champions that they had been dominating throughout Spring Split with. Throw a curveball. Do something a little wacky.
All right, I'm going to get one that is a little bit different, right? We'll go ahead and call this one the Churro as well, but we got to focus on what it is that Maryville can do to bring this one back. And I really want to see in the mid lane, Spirex bring out the Akali. This is something that he has had so much success on, and it was something that he kind of made a name for himself for as a fantastic flanker and an incredible team fighter in 2023. We haven't seen it nearly as much coming out from him so far in 2024, but I think it is something where you can absolutely take control of a game. He tried to do it on the Nico that had a great plan for setting him up, and then as Akali, he would have even more tools to knock him down.
It is one of Spirex's best champions, one of the most known champions, and so far, I don't remember that offhand being banned in any of the games. So, okay, if that's a Churro, then we got the Cookie left, the Subway sidekick that I'll assign that one to. Let's go from DSG's side. We gave two Maryville ones. Let's talk DSG. How do they close this one out? How do they 3-0? My sidekick for them is going to be Seraphine. This is something that Manui has played historically throughout his career. He has pulled it out already in Spring Split. He's not a traditional marksman, even though I've heard him say things like he still thinks he can perform on marksman. He still believes he's strong on those. But he often, another strength of his is he can play the carries that are more AP focused, Seraphine being one of the primary examples. So I'll sign that to the Cookie. There we go. That's how DSG can try and close this one out, because we had been a little critical maybe of the depth of their champ pool as players. And I think that that's one of those ones that could rise to the top here for Manui. But here's the band champions from Fearless Draft. It's looking like a best-of-3 Fearless Draft so far, Josh. It might only be that. But what are some of the big ones that you're seeing? I mean, obviously Smolder's big for DSG, right?
Yeah, the Smolder being gone for DSG does matter quite a bit. They have used up both the Senna and the Smolder, whereas Maryville still has access to the Smolder if they do want it. But the big thing that I'm looking at across the other side is Maryville are still not going to be able to get the Callista. I don't expect them to be able to get the Varus either. What is next on the docket here for Scary Jerry? We know that he has had so much success with the ability to push very aggressively early on in the game, but we've been seeing that Manui and Poom are not just surviving, they're thriving in this bottom lane. They're finding opportunities to fight back, even if Scary Jerry and Zyko are slowly nickel and diming them over the longer laning phases. They're not always able to take control.
And I want to note something, that it feels like we've seen a different Scary Jerry Zyko in playoffs compared to the regular season. Regular season, Scary Jerry Zyko was terrifying for any 2v2 lane. They were averaging like 1 kill in the 2v2 and laning phase per game that they played. We haven't really seen that in playoffs. They've been playing a more passive lane. They haven't been finding these just clear advantages in the 2v2s. And I think that that is part of why DSG have been looked so much better, is because last time we saw them go up against each other, we had expectations that Scary Jerry Zyko would crush Manui Poom. Has not been the case. Manui Poom have stepped up to the plate and have actually been getting the better of Scary Jerry Zyko so far. It is that Zeri for Scary Jerry, so we got the rhyme scheme back in full force.
Yeah, and it is worth noting that this is one of the champions that surprisingly has not a great win rate on so far. He does have a couple of Zeri games so far this spring, and he's only won one of them. That said, he's got a total of 12 KDA between the two games. He's clearly performing on this champion, but it does feel as though he's going to have a little bit of trouble in this early laning phase because the Ashe has gone over towards DSG. and it creates a lot of volatility and a lot of pressure on Disguised's side of the map, which suddenly means Scary Jerry and Zyko, they need to flip heads in these fights.
It's something that MU leaned on in their last series against DSG. The Zeri was played in Game 3, and it did lose that one as well. That was Manui piloting the Jinx this time around. Now we have Ashe. I don't know if we'd see Jinx-Ashe as a combo. Not something I really think about. But, the other clear Ashe combos, things like Kalista, are also taken off the table. So we'll see what they go for. Instead, they're going to go for the Ahri. So we're not going to see the bot lane yet. It is the blind pick mid laner. Maryville will opt for the blind pick top lane.
Yeah, and with this mid lane pick coming out right now, you have the opportunity to ban away potentially strong counters. We know that the Annie has been something that a lot of people have been playing into this, but with the Nico already off the table as well, I feel like Orianna is the only other real ban you can go for. I mean, you can try and ban away the Akali, try and get that Churro out of here, but it is definitely a position where you don't have a lot of tools necessarily left over after that are meta and something that Spyrex is known to play.
I feel like Orianna would be the obvious choice right now, but maybe you think that your composition can already absorb the Orianna. You have some range advantage with Ashe. Xin Zhao can kind of block a lot of that damage if he's got his Crescent Guard up, and your reaction time's fast enough off of those shockwaves. So there's a chance that they're not threatened, but they do lock it in. So Orianna's banned away. Ziggs banned away as well. That's another champ that Manui likes to play. He loves those AP champs in the bot lane.
True. The Seraphine banned away as well. We're losing a lot of our sidekicks coming through on this one. But now we have to see what Disguise want to play. This is probably going to be the bot lane champion because you already know the entire bottom lane side. And it's the Neela?
Okay. I don't know if Manui's played that yet this year. I'll give you some time to look that one up, Josh, because I'm very curious how many people have even pulled this one out. I believe it's been played at least once in Spring Split, especially with Fearless Draft. I mean, it's more expected. Best of 5 Fearless Draft. We're not that deep into it, but because of all the target bans against Manui, he's now leaning onto a champion that we do not see very popular in pro play. And
we do have the answer so far. This is not only Manui's first time playing Neela in this competitive season, it is his first time playing Neela competitively ever at the Challengers League or above. This is something new coming through on the side of Disguise. But we also got to point out that Spyrex is getting one of his best champions here in the Jace. They're pairing it up with the Maokai. They have the tools to slow things down. They have a lot of physical damage. But coming on the side of Disguise, they have some great tools to ignore everything. And as the Olaf comes through, a fantastic champion. I am not expecting there to be enough damage on the side of Maryville to deal with this. It feels like the Skies have completed the upset. They just need to showcase that they can execute it. And if there's going to be an upset, I'm looking at Zyko for this one. We've talked about almost everyone else on his team, but Zyko is the one in control of engages on the bottom side of the map. He's the one in control of taking this volatile double marksman composition from Disguise and turning it on its head.
Very happy you talk about that because I feel like Nautilus is one of Zyko's best champions we've seen so far in the Spring Split. The big catalyst for why they've won so many 2v2s is because his dredge lines are that intimidating, that lethal. Didn't get them the win last time. It was Zeri Nautilus in their Game 3 loss to Disguise in the upper bracket round 1. Let's see if it can get them the win here. Very interesting adaptations from DSG. Manui got hard focused in the second round of bans, brings out his first ever competitive Neela. And now we got to see, can he pilot it to victory here and give DSG their 3-0, or do Maryville have enough in the tank to keep their season alive? Let us know in Twitch chat. Who are you rooting for? Spam MU or DSG?
I'm definitely looking at DSG with this one. I really like their composition. One of the things that we do have to note is the Jace really struggles to ever bring out the hammer form in this matchup, but that, it's not the end of the world. You do have some very powerful ranged auto attacks at the same time, but with this guys going through, they don't even drop a ward on the other side of the map. Instead, they're going to shift right on up. There is a sweeper coming through for Poom, so they might be able to catch out this ward and get a little bit of experience. But Disguise, you can tell they're already ready to fight.
Yeah, DSG are trying to utilize the strength of an Olaf, Xin Zhao early game. Even the Ashe as well. These are very powerful level 1 champions. Maryville cannot opt them from walking in and asserting some vision priority here. They get the 1 ward up to spot where Perry will start, or rather, where he won't be starting, as he's actually pivoting away from those Raptors and going towards the bottom camps instead.
It is worth noting, at this point as well. Even though Jay's Maokai is still a very powerful combo, Maokai has lost a lot since then, right? His damage has gone down, his movement speed has gone down, his durability has gone down, all because of the sins of support Maokai and solo queue. But it is still a spot where Yuji will not have the same kind of control. He's going to have to focus on dodging out on where parry is, and that really changes the way that Maryville like to play with their bottom lane, with their mid lane. You have a lot of tools to set up for this Yuji play, but it's not the same kind of thing that you can do now.
As the junglers are both unspotted in their clears, the bot laners will scrap it out a little bit here. Poom and Manui getting the better of Zyko's health bar. The strength of the Ashe is so oppressive, and yes, Nautilus can dredge line you, but Zeri not known for early game DPS. Level 2 hit earlier from Manui. And from Poom, that's an early cleanse out from Scary Jerry. The turret does shoot Poom one time, but still a health bar lead for DSG.
And it's going to be really tough to try and play through with this one, because you always have to remember as well that later on, next level probably is when Manui will get access to dodging out on auto attacks for him and any one of his allies that he touches. And that suddenly means that Zyko not always going to be able to get that route. Scary Jerry not going to be able to do a lot of damage in a lot of these engagements. And so Disguise, they have a fantastic way to play out this bottom side matchup. And Yuji only now getting there feels like he might be getting there too late.
And the fact that Tenacity also got the counterpick top side means that there are two lanes with theoretical prio for Perry to play around here. I'm going to keep my eyes then on the Xin Zhao, an early game jungler, where he wants to put the attention, because Tenacity's pushing it top, duking it out with Niles. Speaking of, Niles gets a good trade onto Tenacity right there. Well done. But still, it feels like there's more options for DSG's jungler than Maryville's, and you said that yourself. Yuji kind of slow in the clear even down here on the bot side. Not able to punish the wave as it was trying to crash from DSG.
It does feel as though DSG need to be very proactive right now. I love the fact that Spyrex knows that, hey, if there's going to be any plays coming out from the Xin Zhao, it should be coming from the top side of the map, because he started on the bottom side. We did not see him do those Raptors early on, so he will be over there. And here comes the first hook.
There's the dredge line. Powerful onto Manui, but you can't overcommit onto it because of the DPS of the Ashe and the Nila, so they back off. But still, nice little chunk there. And Yuji's also around, so, I mean, maybe we look for a dive. Manui is low.
This needs to work. There's a flash.
Oh! Has to use the cleanse and the ghost. I believe that was a cleanse animation that I saw. We'll have to get confirmation on that. But either way, Manui in a really rough spot.
They got him.
Oh, he gets chunked even more. First blood for Zyko. He'll trade his life for it, but Poom should go down too. Okay, a 2 for 2. Double kill. And it looks like top lane, they did survive. Yeah, Niles doesn't go down. So interesting dive. Not exactly how Maryville wanted that one to go.
But crucially, all of this experience and gold was lost to Manui. He didn't get any kill participation. He didn't get any of these minions. And so even though it's a 2 for 2, the fact that the gold is going over to Poom is a huge difference in how this plays out.
Oh. If that dredge line landed, Niles could have been in trouble, so the respect flash comes through. But let's get another look at that dive. Yeah, Zyko tanks it up and gets the kill. I'm wondering if he was actually looking for Poom there. But it was very, very close series of plays.
Yeah, I mean, either way, as they go in, the cleanse gets both the root and the ignite coming off, and then Yuji comes through. But the big thing here is as soon as this zap lands, it's a kill. It's just about who it goes over to, and yeah, it like goes through Poom.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. If Yuji started tanking up after Scary Jerry, it's also much better, but it's really hard to coordinate that at that point. High stress moment, so not going to hold that against any players. But as we come back to live, it looks like a trade of objectives here. So 2 for 2 kills, basically even gold traded and even objective traded means that I'm not seeing either of these teams with a substantial early game lead.
True. Now, the one thing that we are going to be looking at is Zyko and Scary Jerry do have Poom that they can try and prey on, but Poom got a lot of experience. He's getting more because he is in the Nilo lane, right? He is going to be hitting level 6 faster than the members of Scary Jerry and Zyko, and that's when you start fishing with that Enchanted Crystal Arrow. That's when you start looking for opportunities to set things up, because the burst combination between Poom and Manui becomes ridiculous in the next couple of minutes. And you can also start throwing it out on the rest of the map because Disguise have the tools, they have the priority in so many lanes to start playing for all of these ganks, and good job from Perry to try and dodge out from the vision.
Ooh. Yeah, he was trying, but that ward in the Pixel Brush will give Niles the information. He didn't have flash, so I love the idea of trying to play towards the Crocodile right now, but Niles saw it coming and keeps himself covered with vision. Now they know that Perry's topside, so Yuji can actually confidently walk up here. Manui and Poom need to be careful. Nila's still a tough champion to dive, though. With Jubilant Veil, her W available, your auto attacks just don't affect her. So it's kind of hard for the Nautilus route to come through, for the Zeri to get all that damage down. So yeah, I think that yeah, it's wise to not force the dive.
Yeah. It is worth noting that with no teleports from Tenacity and Young available, it would have just been a 4v2 on the dive. But like you called out, you have to be very careful, as we now see Poom and Manui both hitting level 6 early because of the benefits of the Nila passive. They will be able to go for a lot of very strong plays, and this is where I'm starting to expect a little bit more aggression coming up from the Disguise bottom lane, as well as sending Perry down there in order to create pressure onto Scary Jerry and Zyko. If you put this lane further behind, it becomes very difficult for them to come back.
Scary Jerry's going to have to be quick with that cleanse. If Enchanted Crystal Arrow plus Apotheosis combo lands onto him, the Ashe plus Nila ultimates is a lot of damage that they're going to be able to output on top of you. So Zyko's not with him right now, but now we'll head back towards the bottom side. Manui gets a reset and picks up the pickaxe, so trying to keep some of that damage up, even though falling fairly substantially behind in CS here. Scary Jerry does have more in the wallet to play with, as Poom also leaves his bot laner. Goes for a little warding pattern. 1v1 top side. Niles, big damage here onto Tenacity. Ragnarok's popped. He's going to have to drain take his way out of this, but he doesn't have enough. Niles takes the 1v1.
And a much-needed solo kill. Finally, we're seeing Niles, who was their third All-Pro vote, actually taking down Tenacity up in this top lane. In the counterpick matchup for Tenacity, we were expecting Tenacity to look so good in this one, and this is, again, a much-needed sigh of relief coming through for Maryville fans.
I like the initial build from Niles too. The Grievous Wounds immediately, meaning that in that 1v1, he's just going to have so much kill threat. Ashe Arrow through Fog of War, but doesn't land. Likes the angle of that, but Niles doesn't greed for a second plate.
Yeah. I mean, the other part of it is it would catch Niles if he was trying to back in that brush. So
true.
There's lots of ways that could have gone right, but it now means that the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is down, and Scary Jerry and Zyko can get a little bit of a freeze down here. They can buy more time for this bottom lane to abuse Nila.
Charm lands from Young. Spyrex gets good damage in to start it off in that hammer form, which you had mentioned. Tough to do into the Ahri matchup, so good there. Now, Scary Jerry pops the Zeri ultimate, looking to chase down, but can't get onto Manui.
Yeah, that's two ultimates coming through from Scary Jerry and Zyko, which means that Poom, when they get the Enchanted Crystal Arrow back up, will have a lot of tools. But look at this, Tenacity hanging out in the mid lane, expecting more aggression potentially come through from Spyrex, but not willing to wait for it. And
Perry's here, but it's going to be a 2v3. Look at Yuji, look at Zyko. And Perry thinks it's just the Nautilus. Maybe they can catch him. He buffers the charm with the Dredge line, but Yuji's actually not in the fight yet. Can't get over that wall, and now he's going to be spotted. Dredge line lands, though. They got in onto Poom. Perry throws out the ultimate, the Crescent Guard, to try and keep his support alive, but cannot keep Young alive. Young went in when he needed to go out. DSG lose their mid laner. They're going to lose their jungler. Niles with the flash stun guarantees 2 kills for Maryville.
And that's really big, but just as we were talking about before, Kangas, this lead coming through for Maryville is not consistent. They have lost from this position before, and now, with all of this coming through, we have to start yet again asking who the heroes for Disguise are going to be, because we know Scary Jerry and Zyko, they have done their job. They have found an opportunity to have a lead when perhaps they're not supposed to. And when does Manui come online? When will he have this collector and the opportunity to start firing right on back? Because it starts off, looks all right. You're never really killing Zyko from this position, but Disguise, they just stick around a little bit too long, and then the hook landing onto Poom, of all people, becomes a huge problem.
Best member for that to hit, and it forces Young, or pressures rather, Young to think, I got to go forward because Poom could be in trouble. Yuji's on the flank. Maybe I can kill Zyko or kill Spyrex. Didn't have enough in the tank and goes down, but as we're back to live, DSG are not deterred. They're onto the dragon, and they will claim their second drag of the game. They can keep stacking these up. Let's see what the soul is. Okay, didn't get a look at it. Okay,
it's an ocean.
Ocean soul in the top left we can see.
Okay, And now Spyrex up top lane looking for Tenacity as well. They are spotted out. Can he live?
Ragnarok available. Teleport coming in here from Young. Pops the Ragnarok, pops the Ghost. He's just trying to run away, but he led MU to the safety away from the turret and away from Young. Will still go down. MU pull off the dive.
This lead from Maryville is already really starting to balloon, and they're able to push it forward, which is the big part that you always have to ask. It's now grown to a little bit over 3,000. They're looking for a redive onto Young.
I mean, why not? There's a teleport for Tenacity, though, so they got to do this fast. And I think it's wise to back off.
Yeah.
If the Shock Blast landed, maybe Niles goes for something big underneath. But, oh, Tenacity actually teleports mid. So they're trying to maximize their gold income here and just catch these waves.
But we got to point out the fact that Maryville, the top lane, is winning for Niles when it's not supposed to be. The bottom lane is winning for Scary Jerry and Zyko after that dive. The mid lane is winning for Spyrex. These are all lanes that are supposed to be at least a little bit tough for Maryville to navigate, and they have done a fantastic job navigating all of them. Now, Disguised are in a position where they do not scale better than Maryville. The Jace is one of the best scaling champions in the game. Zeri has so much control, but Disguised, yet again, have the tools to blow up members during these fights. If Manui gets online...
they can also get blown up. Yeah, Poom. Always the supports, especially on these squishy champions, just trying to get vision down for the team and get picked out by the enemy. And now Yuji hits the ultimate there onto Tenacity at the very tail end, but Spyrex goes down. Young sees the angle and he finds a kill. Perry will fall for that as well, so trade up for Maryville, but DSG's mid laner trying to keep them in this.
And that's pretty big. The fact that Poom gets caught out just moving between, it's one of the downfalls that you oftentimes see for these Ashe supports, for the Varus and Caitlyn supports that we've seen in the past. As soon as you start falling behind, there's nowhere safe for you to go. In Disguise, they need to find every single part. I think the funniest part of this is when Poom gets caught, he throws out the arrow onto Spyrex. And I think that's where his camera was this entire time in the first place. Because as it goes, it just doesn't hit Yuji, doesn't hit Zyko, but it hits Spyrex, and that is what allows this guy to even bring people in range in the first place.
Yeah, and also I think they get a little baited because of Nature's Grasp landing. And, I mean, they'll lose one. I think it's fine for Spyrex to go down there. They're still happy with it. They lose Teleport for Niles as well, so I suppose that's important to track. Won't have as much global pressure, but it all started with, like you said, Poom on a squishy support. Very dangerous to walk alone in the jungle when you don't have any vision down. Now Zyko, is he just going to try and stop some backs? Yeah. Zap will keep him safe.
Everybody will be okay across the board. But it does look like, so there is all 6 grubs coming through for Maryville. That is the Grubageddon, and they're looking once again.
Oh! I was going to say, Poom, you have to know that there's a ward in there based on what just happened, but you get away. Nice.
Yeah. And now Yuji hitting the Rift Herald as well. This is one thing that Maryville has done very well, especially during the laning phase, is as they start moving around, they do have a really good sense of when people can punish them for their roams. And when everybody went to the mid lane, there's no pushing on the side lanes for Disguise. Nobody was top lane, nobody was pushing in the bottom lane because Scary Jerry had already pushed that one in. This time, yet again, they're the first ones to the Rift Herald, and they know that there's nothing that they're really giving up. Nui maybe could have crashed a wave, maybe on the bottom side of the map, which means that Disguise not getting anything in recompense.
Which is not the story from game 1 and 2. It felt like Disguise were actually a little bit ahead or trading up more often than Maryville was. And I think it's good news for Maryville to turn that around. It was concerning to see that in the first 2, but this is what the team had kind of made a reputation for in the regular season. Struggling more in playoffs than they had then. But we had them as heavy favorites coming into playoffs in general. It was kind of like, okay, is it a 2-horse race? Maybe Supernova's up there as well, but it's FlyQuest and Maryville as the top dogs. And now with their backs against the wall, it's good to see fights still in Maryville. You were right, last game they had a lead as well, but this game they also have the scaling advantage. So I'm seeing less options. DSG don't have this smolder in their back pocket. They can just win them a game if they get to the right point.
Yeah. It's also worth noting that if you want to stop a reverse sweep, it's way more important that you stop them here, right? As soon as the momentum starts building the other direction, especially if this game takes a while, this guy's going to struggle to stop it.
Good dredge line. Young's jumping in here, trying to look for the charm. Again, it's buffered. Zyko just buffered an Ash Arrow and buffered a charm. He will still go down, though. Shut down to Tenacity.
Niles?
Flank from Niles. The Renekton's big. He flashes in, trying to get some damage in there. But he is not with the team. The team was a little far behind, so Niles has to flash away now. They're slicing dice away, rather. Maryville lose their support, and they will probably lose this dragon fight if they still look for it. They have Spyrax Shock Blast to try and poke, and they are landing.
But there's no ultimates left here for Disguise. They don't have tools. Young is going to try and teleport back.
True, and they also have the Herald in the mid lane, so they don't even need to win the fight. They just need to stall time for DSG. Keep DSG from taking the dragon as quickly as possible. Maybe look for the Smite Seal. Yuji's there, does not get it. DSG secure the dragon, but the Shock Blasts are hurting. And there is a teleport available for Niles, so the backup was there for MU. They lose the dragon, but they are still trading other things on the map.
We also got to point out that Spyrax very, very nearly got hit by a charm there from Young, but a great flash keeps him alive and makes sure that Disguise, even though they get the dragon, still trade down in gold across the map. And as the teleports come through for Disguise to make sure they don't lose more than that mid lane turret, it is still a very tough position for Young to try and defend this structure, because Maryville sending everybody top to make sure that they get both structures.
This is something Maryville has shown that they are willing to do time and time again. Overload a side of the map to guarantee a structure, guarantee a pick on a side lane. Young will not give them both. Will just give up the turret and catch the wave here. Tenacity will try and answer it here on the bottom side. Actually, doesn't stop the back. But I don't think he'll have enough time to actually take that turret. Maybe they can get mid, but it seems like currently tempo, especially with these resets coming from MU, belongs to the collegiate squad.
Exactly. I mean, it is Disguise's turn. Oh, no!
And now Perry not playing with that tempo of the team, not respecting the fact MU are back onto the map. You did not get that invade in time, and Tenacity can only watch as Perry falls.
We know that in their last series, Perry did just have a game that was kind of like this, right? He just got caught over and over again. He tried to make a couple of plays, and it led to a collapse of Disguise for that game. And this is a position where you cannot afford to lose more. You do not want to give Maryville any momentum in the rest of it, and Poom is going to get caught.
Yeah, Yuji finds the enemy support yet again, and another dredge line from Zyko. They're just bullying him at this point. Like he met a cat under a ladder on Friday the 13th, just keeps getting unlucky. Scary Jerry picks up a kill into Tenacity. Manui goes down as well. That's a double kill to MU's bot laner.
And everybody's trying to make a play, but it's just not working. Tenacity goes in by himself and dies. Then Manui goes in by himself and dies. That has happened. 4 members of Disguise have just done that. Perry hops over a wall. Then Poom gets caught. Tenacity runs in. Manui runs in. Young is the only one who didn't make a mistake in that last sequence. But they're running out of mistakes to make with the 7,000 gold lead going over to Maryville. They should be able to stop this upcoming Dragon Soul. And if they can do that, then that is a major win condition that Disguise will no longer have access to as they lose yet another one of their structures.
I love this look from MU. We saw them try this more in Game 1 than Game 2. This style of just kind of group up, invade together, find people out of position, and kill them one by one. Watch as the dominoes fall. DSG are playing into that this time around. As you see Boom even picked up the Edge of Night. He's like, no, I am sick of getting Nautilus hooked from Fog of War and just dying instantly. Didn't die that last time, importantly, but did have to burn the flash. But Maryville, it's such a better look when they do this style, and they're able to find these picks. So I'm happy that they are keeping with what had worked with them earlier on in the split. We had partly favored them in the best of 5 because of Fearless Draft. We felt that the champ pools were a little deeper. And this still, Game 3 feels like a stock standard MU draft, and we still haven't even seen all of their iconic picks. So as the series goes on, if they can win this game, this could be really good news for MU in this best of 5.
And Maryville, we still got to see them close this one out, right? One of the scary things when you start losing is you kind of forget how to win sometimes. And Maryville, they need to close this one out cleanly, and I feel as though it has slowed down a little bit, partly because they're waiting for their opponents to make mistakes, but that means it's on Disguised to not make mistakes. And as they start moving together, you have to remember how quickly they can take members down. They have such a heavy dive composition, with 4 of their members going to be trying to dive into the enemy team. And if you can take down the Maokai, or rather, if you can take down the Zeri, suddenly the damage starts disappearing from Maryville very quickly.
And Zeri also kind of needs to play within range. You got to get that lightning crash off, so you got to jump in initially to get that ult rolling and stacked up. Scary Jerry, we know, is a player that likes to play on the line, as we call it. So eyes will be on the young AD carry. Scary Jerry really turned heads this year. We were very impressed with his improvement from last summer into this spring, getting nod after nod after nod. We have all these new awards that we're giving out as well, things like Rookie of the Split, Most Improved MVP. I'll let you know right now, Scary Jerry was in the conversation for a couple of those. So can he keep it going right now? 4-1 seems to be the pivotal player for Maryville in this Game 3.
We'll see what he can do. It is still Maryville trying to set things up. They do have a dragon spawning right now that Disguised will not be able to play for at all, but Maryville slowing down again. Like we said, it looks like they're looking for mistakes, but one of the things that we know about Scary Jerry is that he loves to make plays happen is Poom. Rod.
Okay, depth charge used. That's the thing about Edge of Night. It only stops the first bit of the CC. Flash from Zyko will get the root, but the teleports come in from DSG. They will not let their support's death be in vain. They'll try and at least get Spyrex, and they will, but here comes Scary Jerry, the main character from Maryville University, and he's able to clean things up with a double kill. Perry finds himself all alone as Manui just has not been in a single fight that DSG has taken, and Perry will go down. Who gets the kill credit? Give it to the AD carry. Scary Jerry doesn't get it. It's Yuji. But you know what this song sounds like. Maryville are right on the Baron.
Manui, the only member alive for Disguise, and it looks like he's going to be focused on picking up this mid lane structure. He's going to go even further because he knows he can't do anything. But no, they're pinging. Poom and Manui are saying, we need to stop this now.
Oh, I mean, there's no health bar on Scary Jerry. He's pretty low. If Manui can get on top of him, Ghost popped. And it looks like teleport. Okay, no, it is still coming through. Spyrex gets in there. Apotheosis is not enough from Manui. Baron is still the focus, and Yuji has Smite, will claim the Rally Cry Baron buff.
Maryville backing away with everything. They got the Ocean Dragon stopping the Soul. They got the Baron there, up to a 9,000 gold lead in this game. And Disguise just look out of sorts. Maryville seemed to have really found everything that they needed, and I really feel as though the laning phase that Maryville has had throughout this game and the rest of the series and the rest of everything suddenly becomes a situation where Maryville are taking situations they should be behind early on, and they're winning it anyway. And once that happens and Disguise runs out of opportunities, they just get outscaled from this position, and that does mean that Disguise have to look for more and more desperate plays. It's part of why they look a little bit out of sorts, is because they've tried to make things happen. But watch how Young moves here. He just dashes directly into the stun.
Yep. Well played, I think, from the side of DSG to find the turnaround, but then they don't have the gold in their wallets to kill Spyrex fast enough. If that Jace dies instantly, if they have enough gold on their Olaf, on their Xin Zhao, could have been a different play, but the fact that Maryville are this far ahead meant that they are now able to get that Baron. They take out the middle inhibitor, and 24 minutes into this game, they've also denied the Dragon Soul stack from DSG. They are in the driver's seat, and it looks like they will bring us to at least a Game 4. Backs were against the wall. You got to be tenacious in moments like this, and we know that Maryville, they got the heart in them to keep the fight going.
And it does make me start thinking about how those Game 4s will look, right? Because a lot of players are losing a lot of champions that they could potentially bring through. In Maryville, one of the big things that we are going to start looking at is the fact that Scary Jerry is running out of champions to play, and Spyrex jumps in.
Arrow lands, but it does not hit Spyrex. He gets out of there. Zyko is just too big of a character model. Shock Blaster coming through as well. This seems like DSG's potential last hope. Charm lands onto Niles, but Young just doesn't do enough damage. Not even half of Niles' health bar with the full combo right there. We'll look for one more Foxfire Spirit rush forward, as MU just need to wait for this next wave to come up. If DSG lose this fight, you got to imagine with the supers already in the base mid lane that that's just the game. They got to put everything into this moment right here, but Maryville don't want to give it to them. They've already taken down Poom. Maryville just bulldoze over DSG. The gold lead is too much, and they are too tenacious in this Game 3. An ace for Maryville, and they only lose Zyko. They're bringing us to Game 4, and they are not ready for their season to be over.
clean game coming through from Maryville. Every single member of their team winning lanes they should not have been expected to, and that does mean Maryville will take us to Game 4. It's not ready for the sweep coming through from Disguise. They still have to find another one, but I love the fact that these teams are going back and forth. Fun fact, they're now tied in game score against each other, 4-4 over all of their 5-5 actually over all the series they played in this spring 2024, and this could be the opportunity for one of them to finally put a close to that.
Maryville did 2-0 them in their regular season best of 3. Then in playoffs, DSG take that 2-1. That's awesome to see that it could come down to the wire. With that said, we're going to send it to a short break while we get ready for Game 4. You won't want to miss it.
Introducing the new foot-long sidekicks at Subway. Try the warm and delicious foot-long cookie, foot-long pretzel, or foot-long churro.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, next up in some news, it was announced that NACA Finals will be live here in the Riot Games Arena, which is obviously a pretty big deal because this could be the first time some of these players are actually taken to the stage.
I am so pumped for this. To get to see players experience their first ever game on stage is incredible. You know, kind of learning what it's like.
What's NACL?
So, speaking of Magic, Cubby, I hear you worked some to get NACL Finals live somehow.
Yeah, team effort. But you know what? We're going back to the studio on April 1st for our live finals. You can get tickets now, and there's even going to be an award show to go along with it.
So you know what's interesting, Emily? Not only are they bringing back the most valuable prospect, but they're introducing a new slew of awards for the players and teams also to vote on.
Yeah, so looking at the list, there's also going to be a most improved player and a rookie of the split award, and they're voting for all pros. It's kind of like we do in the LCS, so it'll feel a little more familiar, I guess.
Yeah, NACL is going to be highlighting more players for their performance over the last split, and I think that's going to be awesome.
I already know who my MVP is, but now I gotta think about all those other awards too.
And also, finals are live, so we could all go technically and see the players.
Yeah, and I think it's so cool that they opened up the voting for the awards to the teams and the players as well.
Yeah, even the NACL co-streamers are going to get a chance to fill out their ballots this year. It's awesome to see so many different community members involved.
Yo, Eric, they just announced that NACL finals are live and we can get tickets.
Oh, sick. Playoffs are on right now. Put it on.
Let's go.